Hello and welcome to Soul GPS, where we learn to take our lives back in our hands after narcissistic abuse. And today I'm coming to you from Split in Croatia. I just got off my ferry. It's about 7 a.m. in the morning. The city is already buzzing with activity. Tourists are disembarking from their buses and from their ships and so forth, and I'm really happy to have made it here. But I wanted to come to you with another message today, which was on my mind yesterday quite a bit because of something that happened, and it prompted me to make some connections with narcissistic abuse. And over the last few days I have been a little bit sleep deprived, lots of activities, and I disembarked a train in Ancona, which is on the east side of Italy, to get on this ferry to Croatia. And a series of things have happened during that time, and to make a long story short and make it more relatable to what you might be going through, I'm just going to give you a brief summary. Basically, I forgot to download my ticket for the ferry. I did not get any cash from an ATM. I did not print my directions how to get from the train to the port. I was just really lost, and I just got off the train. It was about a 5-hour train from one side to the other of Italy, and I was just like, what in the world is going on? And what made matters worse was that the ATM was right in front of me. I walked right past it. Wi-Fi connection was there. I was unable to find a bus on which I needed to get on to get to the port. And basically for about an hour I was ambling about the town. It was incredibly hot, so I was just sweating, you know, waterfalls, and I was just like, I was making mistake after mistake after mistake. And finally I got on the bus. I was super excited that I'm finally, you know, doing the thing I was supposed to. And then I had this insight, and I thought, you know, and there was one more really key important thing, which was that normally my intuition is pretty good in terms of navigating me to where I need to go. You know, some areas feel kind of off, whereas some areas feel really good. So it's kind of like feeling really crammed inside. That's when I know that it's not a good place for me to be, versus feeling really expansive and sort of like a breath of fresh air and calm. And that's when I know that I'm in the right place with friendly people and so on. So my intuition compass was completely all over the place, and I would walk into places where people would be looking at me and going like, excuse me, how can I help you, right? And I was just to be lost. And so I sat on the bus and I'm thinking, you know, my intuition is super off because I'm utterly exhausted. And then I thought to the adrenal fatigue that I felt freshly after the relationship, you know, freshly after the narcissistic relationship, which had lasted a couple of months. And during that time, it was just not really advisable to make really any important decisions in my life. So if you find yourself lost, which is only natural to feel lost and disoriented and confused after having left one of those relationships, I just want to tell you to take heart and be patient with yourself, because that is just a normal stage that needs to pass. As I have alluded in my other videos, there is a time where the chemicals, the hormones, the neuropeptides that have been surging through our bodies, it's a whole cocktail, a whole symphony of chemicals that have made us trauma bonded to the abuser. There's a time when they're still going, even though maybe we have already left the relationship, maybe we're already no contact, right? So you may still feel lost. You may still have more questions than answers, and that is fine. That is absolutely natural. Many of you have asked me about intuition, because that's kind of the concept on which I'm basing this whole channel on, you know, Soul GPS, the compass of your soul. And, you know, how do you know whether you are trusting yourself, because, you know, intuition and self-trust are very connected, or whereas you're being lost because you're having a PTSD reaction still left over from the relationship. And I see this as a very confusing period of time, and I want to just tell you that during the first couple of months or so, if you do find yourself confused, that is normal, and it is advisable for you to just rest. That is the I think the message that the body is telling us. And once things settle down, even sometimes it may take a few days of getting good night's sleep, because one of the things that the narcissist does, I don't know if this happened to you, it happened to me, and it happened to a lot of other people that I have had contact with or listened to on YouTube, they have said this, is that the narc has a really weird sleep patterns, and they have this knack of getting us really to the point of exhaustion. And I remembered, for instance, when I would, when I'm on my own, I try to have a good sleep routine, because if I don't get good night's sleep, I'm useless. I can't do really almost anything, and my concentration's off, my mood is off. So I would oftentimes be engaged in these word salad conversations, circular conversations, resolving conflicts that seemed endless all the way into the wee hours of the night, right? Or it would be just intimate time with the narcissist, right? They would just want to, like, they would just wake me up in the middle of the night and want to cuddle or do this or that, and I would be like, I'd be tired, but I would be thinking, you know, they are my soulmate. I would almost feel like a sense of obligation in a relationship to be with them and to talk to them and do whatever it is that they needed, you know, to be there. And then as a result, my sleep patterns would get completely thrown off just within the first few days, and it would be much more difficult for me to be able to, you know, respond rationally to what they were saying. I would be more in the reactionary mode because I'm tired, you know, and then they start poking my wounds or poking my vulnerabilities, and I'll be like reacting, and then they'll be like, see, you know, like, see how you know, it's you making the problem. Like, I'm just asking you a question and now you're making all these big problems. But yeah, they've asked me the same question like 18 times, and in the meantime they've alluded to all sorts of things in order to raise a variety of negative emotions in me. So by the time the last question came in, I'm already at my wit's end and I explode. So that's another tactic that they use. So back to exhaustion and intuition, they don't go well together. That's my message for you today. So if you find yourself having to make an important decision, but you are just not really feeling 100%, or you're feeling cloudy, rest up. Take some time for yourself, eat well, sleep it off. That's why I think they say, I'll sleep on it, right? Because sleep oftentimes helps us resolve a lot of things, helps us find better perspective. And sometimes we don't see the things that are right in front of us. We may not see the answers that are so simple and so clear until the clarity arrives. And clarity, I'll tell you, is one of the most precious things I think that we lose during the relationship with the narcissist, and sometimes shortly after, because now we have to deal with the aftermath. Now it's like a bomb just went off in the middle of our life, and there's going to be some time before we can sort through the mess, sort through the scraps, put ourselves back together, and make the compass work well again to take us to the next stage in our lives. So if you're feeling frustrated, because I know I speak a lot about intuition here, and if you feel yourself like I can't really connect to my intuition, I am still in the midst of CPTSD, you know, complex post-traumatic stress disorder. It really wreaks havoc in our brains. It wreaks havoc in our bodies. And even for myself, like, I have been out of this horrible relationship now for 8 months, and a couple of bad nights of sleep, and yes, a few glasses of wine, you know. I was in Italy with friends, so we were having fun, and I was just like, I couldn't tell where to go, what I was doing. And then I was thinking, you know, flashing back to where I was at during the fall and winter of last year, which is when I was freshly out. And I just, like, this whole thing was like a blur. It was like a haze. It was just me laying in my pajamas and listening to YouTube videos and journaling, you know, and then start trying to dig myself out of the hole, which took a few weeks, you know. It took up a couple of months before I was able to gain a sense of stability. So again, I just want to tell you, do not beat yourself up. That's the worst thing you can do. This is the time in your recovery when you need to give yourself a lot of love, when you need to give yourself a lot of patience and have faith. Have faith that things will go well. I wanted to kill myself, you know, after what has happened. And now I am just so grateful that I didn't. I'm so grateful that I'm able to connect with all of you, that I'm able to share my experience and let it help other people. And yes, I embarked on this journey. I'm traveling around Europe, looking for a home, really. I'm kind of homeless right now. But I'm seeing that some of you, reading your comments, some of you are inspired by that too. I gotta tell you that changing a location and getting away from the places that would trigger me, like right now, I don't see myself going back to the United States for a while, just because I think I would be re-triggered. That is not to say that all of you should be doing that, right? Because it's not always available, it's not always accessible. But I think that there is a connection between, as they talk about in the brain science, it's about building new neural pathways. And when we expose ourselves to new things, when we expose ourselves to doing things that maybe we didn't do before, or going to a park, or going on another walk, or taking another route to work, you know, going to a cafe or to a museum or something, like forcing ourselves, because in the early days you almost have to force yourself because your body just wants to retreat and cave in. But forcing yourself to try something a little bit different, read another book, like get your imagination going, that builds new neural pathways, right? Rather than repeating the same old stuff that we used to do and being re-triggered by the things that the narcissist did or took us, and continually flashing back to the past, you start to retrain your brain towards looking into the future. And I think that also really helps. And it might feel really off and uncomfortable in the initial days, but if you continue to persevere, it will get better. So, but that's a little bit of a different topic. So this is back about getting rest. So that's what this video for me is about. I'm sending you lots of love from Croatia. I'm going to be making lots of videos here. I'm staying in this town for about 5 weeks. So I'm looking forward to settling into a bit of a routine here with you guys. And also, I have been receiving more and more inquiries for coaching. So now is a good time if you're needing help. I'm going to be stationary for the next 5 weeks, much more available. Keep in mind though that I am in Europe, so if you are inquiring from another country, just be mindful of the time difference, but I'm sure there's always a way to work that out. So anyway, I'm sending you lots of love. Keep fighting, keep loving yourself, you know, keep practicing being patient. Give yourself what you need. You know, many of us don't even know what our needs are. We've always been attending to other people's needs. Now it's your time. So, and step by step, as you get your rest, as life starts to make sense again, clarity arrives, your answers will come, and then the inner compass of your soul will begin to work properly again and take you to the places you're meant to go. So again, sending you guys lots of love, and I will see you in another video. Bye-bye.